Bellina Show, final hour, Thursday edition. Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric. They do free estimates. They have military and veteran discounts at CC Electric. Final hour, Thursday equals Rusty Burson, Aggie historian and author. Rusty, I had a question, something I know you can relate to, because doing your, 82 books now, you've had to do a lot of interviews and stuff. What was one of the weirdest interviews or weirdest even setups to get an interview? Because in the last hour, I shared how I got Ricky Williams on my show. And, it was one of the weirdest, unique things ever, where his agent said, I need you to submit every questions, then we'll approve them, and those are the only ones you can ask. And I went, no. And I even told them, look, this isn't an Aggie trap. I want to talk to Ricky. I'm not setting this thing up, man. And then they actually emailed back like within minutes and said, well, then we can't do it. And then 20 minutes later, they emailed back and said, well, Ricky wants to do it. And it was one of my top 5 favorite interviews I've ever done. For you, in all the interviews, because you were doing 12th Man Magazine and you've done these books. So you've done like 500 interviews in your life, right? What was one of the weirdest, more unique interviews you've had to set up?
Oh, Lou, so let me start off by saying that, my uncle was one of the great Associated Press writers, and he had so many great stories. Wrote a book on Cullen Davis, in the Cullen Davis murders, and he was allegedly on Cullen's hit list. And, obviously I told you the story about him being a pallbearer for Lee Harvey Oswald and covering the assassination. And I sent you a picture of that. So he told me many, many years ago, never to write your questions down. Always carry on a conversation. Then you might write an outline down, but get your head out of the notes and look at the person and carry on a conversation. Yeah, listen, and that if you're listening, then that'll dictate where the conversation goes. And so I heard that part of the show. I was driving around running errands, and so I totally agree with you. Way back when I was in Galveston, Homer Jacobs, the late great Homer Jacobs, he hired me in Galveston, and we got a phone call at the Galveston Daily News, and I was looking. We had to write 3 stories a day, and so in the summertime that was really difficult because we didn't have any sports to cover. Right, we didn't have the high school sports to cover, so we'd go scouring for stories. And somebody called us and said, "Hey, I just saw Earl Campbell with his two kids at the beach. You might, want to send somebody out there."
Wow.
So, of course, I went out to find Earl Campbell, and I found him. He was with his kids, and so I interviewed him in a hotel pool area, and he was bizarre, absolutely bizarre. And I didn't realize at the time that he had some, real anxiety issues and some, I don't think he'd been diagnosed, but years later he was diagnosed with anxiety and, was on medication. But at the time, early 1990s, it was just bizarre. I don't remember, but it was like, really? I mean, this guy, he was, kind of upset that what football had done to him and that, he, barely could walk. And I was wanting to talk about Bum Phillips and the Love You Blue Oilers and, knocking down the door. And he was just more like talking about his injuries and how football had been bad to him and that, he just didn't know what he's going to be doing next. It was weird.
Wow. Okay. Just as soon as you said Earl Campbell, but to hear the twist of this weird, but then again, we found out why it was so weird later. That was a 2-minute, just note that had a lot of twists and turns in it.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I got a story out of it, but I don't think I really dwelled on how disappointed he was with, his current circumstances. And, it was just really weird. Not what I expected at all. So yeah, I've had some opportunities to do some other ones on the phone, and I've had a lot of great opportunities to interview some great people. But I got a chance to interview Bill Parcells, and basically he agreed to write comments about the Dat Wim book, and so I got to interview Parcells about that, and I got to Darren Woodson, who had played with Dat, and going down and interviewing Dat's parents, that was really interesting because they didn't speak English, and so Dad had to translate for me, and his brothers and sisters are the ones who really gave me all the information about coming over from Vietnam because they were alive, and Dad was inside his mother's womb when they were escaping Vietnam, and so that was really interesting. The whole culture, going down to Rockport and seeing the family and eating at Houdat's, and those were fun times too.
Rusty, difficult conversation, but I know you know how to have these. So the Athletic's been doing this 90s nostalgia thing for college football, college basketball in honor of the last time USA, United States, America's, hosted the World Cup. They did the top 25 coaches of the decade. I know you, off the top of your head, where do you think R.C. Slocum would be? Just top of your head.
We're just talking the 90s, right?
Just 90s, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say R.C. was 9.
He ended up at 12, so you're in the right zip code. And the fascinating observation of the 11 coaches in front of him, 9 have a national championship. The only 2 that don't are Joe Pa and Bill Snyder.
Wow. So they ranked Joe Paterno in the top 10.
Joe Pa, Joe Paterno, Penn State, for those, came in at 6.
Okay. Hey, you know what? That's probably fair, but his image is so forever tarnished by the scandal, Sandusky, and that he knew what was going on. I don't know. I have a hard time. It's kind of like Art Briles, It's like I have a hard time ranking him fairly because of his image.
100% with you right there. What you just said is this problem, and I've looked at this list, I think it's 3 days now. Every time I think about it, I cannot put that aside. I cannot.
Yeah, there's some things you just can't put aside, like that whole thing about molesting a child and then knowing, Art Briles. I cannot imagine he didn't know what was going on with his players and
didn't he tell his own chaplain to cover it up? Art Briles?
Yeah. It was terrible. I mean, I just can't. There's some things like the gambling and the paying players and all that stuff. Everybody was paying players. Everybody was doing it at some level. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with Pete Rose gambling. He should be in the Hall of Fame. But yeah, there's just some things I can't get over.
Yeah, I would not be able to put Joe Pa on any list I would do like that. And there was one time growing up as a college football fan, which my journey began in the mid-'80s, coming to A&M TCU, I think 86 in a monsoon, and staying for every second of it made me one for life kind of thing.
Yeah.
So things like that. But I loved Penn State. Who did not? There were very few games on TV, you saw Penn State all the time, and Penn State, Georgia. I mean, I was raised like everyone was during that time.
The sad thing, Lou, I'm with you there, too, because I had tremendous respect for Joe Paterno because he wasn't this, flamboyant guy. He was seemed like he was just level-headed and, he cared for his players. I remember being on the Riverwalk when some of that stuff came out about Sandusky, and in San Antonio when A&M was playing in the Alamo Bowl, playing Penn State, LeVar Arrington, and those that great Penn State team. It just kind of turns your stomach. But I had such immense respect for him until this came out, and I salute Penn State for taking down the statue of him because that was necessary as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. Anyway, back to the list. But I can't put Joe Pa in front of him.
Where's Bobby Bowden on that list?
Number 1.
Okay. I loved Bobby Bowden. And, he came so close to winning many more, the wide rights. But, man, Bobby Bowden had it rolling at Florida State for a long time.
His statistics for the 90s. 2 national championships. 10, a decade is 10 years, right? 10
Yeah.
top 5 finishes. 8
that's amazing.
ACC championships. They were only in the ACC for how long? 8 years. Okay, think about it. Remember they weren't in the whole time. He forced them, and eight ACC championships in all 8 years they were in the league. 10 top 5 finishes, 2 natties, and we know they could have had 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'm curious. I can't remember when Jimmy left Miami. Did he make any part of that top 25?
Okay.
Because
I stopped at RC's 12 after that. So 12 is RC, 11 is Lloyd Carr, 10 is Bill McCartney at Colorado. Number 9 I clipped off. I have no idea who it is. Number 8 is Dennis Erickson, Miami. 7 is Phil Fulmer. 6, Joe Pa. 4, Tom Osborne, Nebraska. I think he should be higher. 3, Steve Spurrier. 2, Bill Snyder. Number 1 is Bobby Bowden.
Yeah. You know, Phil Fulmer owes A&M because I think that would have been a Kansas State national championship had Kansas State beat Texas A&M.
Oh, no doubt. I'm sorry, I'm joking with that. There's zero doubt in the universe that K-State wins a national championship if he's not a touchdown.
Yeah, if he's not a touchdown. Yeah, I was also thinking about Sir Parker when you were talking about Ricky Williams because those were the top 2 running back recruits in the country that year when they signed. I think it was like 96, right? I mean, they came in 96 because that was Sir Parker and Eric Bernard and Tiki Hardman. That was a great running back class for A&M.
It was. So I look at RC at 12. Okay, here's the trickiest question of them all. Maybe the answer is simple and I don't want to accept it, but I want to say, can you put a non-national championship coach in front of a national championship coach? But they put Snyder and Joe Pa in front of a lot of national championship coaches.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Snyder, what he did at Kansas State was the most remarkable coaching turnaround I'd seen ever until maybe this year at Indiana. I mean, Kansas State they were the dogs. They were the drudges of the college football society. They were so bad back in the Big 8 days. I could never envision Kansas State winning. But there, Snyder got them going. And there's no doubt in my mind, in 1998, they were the best team in the country. They just had a really bad fourth quarter, and they couldn't handle success. And they as much as A&M came back and won that game, well, they sure did give a lot of opportunities for the Aggies because once they announced that everything was in position, I can't remember if UCLA had to win or lose, but whatever had to happen, It happened. And so
they both lost on the same day. Impossible.
Yeah, so once they announced that, it was right at the start of the fourth quarter, and the Kansas State fans inside the Trans World Dome in St. Louis were going nuts. I mean, they were going to go play for the national championship. All they had to do was beat A&M, and they were up 15. Well, Bill Snyder and that coaching staff got real conservative, and they played not to lose.
Right, they dragged A&M with them.
Yeah, and Brandon Stewart he just happened to catch lightning in a bottle, and Brandon Stewart was pretty mediocre in a lot of games, was unbelievable in the fourth quarter. I mean, he was incredible. I also saw Brandon Stewart play the worst game in the history of quarterbacks when he threw like 7 interceptions against Lafayette, Louisiana in a loss in 1996. But that day in St. Louis, in that quarter and that overtime, Brandon was just about perfect.
You said Bill Snyder, best job, Signetti. I would like to submit Mike Leach's name in there.
Okay, yeah.
Because, he went to Texas Tech, and he did Washington State, and he did Mississippi State. Like, he decided to do it the hard way 3 times.
Yeah, I guess I don't instantly think of him like that because, like Dyke said, a really good program at Texas Tech, and they were very, very competitive.
But didn't they go back down? Because Leach didn't succeed Dykes immediately, did he?
I don't think so. I think there was a Texas coach that was there for a couple of years, and so I don't think Leach was right after Spike. But what he did at Washington State and Mississippi State, yeah, and just as far as like pure entertainment value, Mike Leach might be number one.
No doubt. And again, he went to 3 historical losing programs. You're right. Texas had, no doubt, but historically losing programs and had great success at all 3, and 2 of them despite themselves. Washington State and Mississippi State were awful programs. So,
yeah.
And I'll say he's at least in their zip code. He's in their category.
Yeah, I could go back on YouTube right now, and I can go back and just call up Mike Leach's name, and that is pure comedy when he gets into these press conferences and talking about how worried he is about the future generation of Mississippi kids because they weren't going to have any arms because his offensive line didn't use their arms. And he just went on and on about all these kids are going to be walking around without the use of their arms. And
well, what was he talking about as players like fat little girlfriends one time? I mean, you couldn't say that today.
Well, that was after the A&M game, and so that's when he ended up getting booted from Texas Tech, and of course, he put Craig James's son in a closet or something.
Because he was in cuss, so they wanted to put him in the dark, and he played Dr. Leach, and well, he didn't have a degree in that.
Yeah, but I could listen to that man talk all day long.
Oh, without a doubt. Hey, Rusty, quick timeout. Come back. I got some maroon and white for you.
Let's do it.
Rusty Burson, Aggie historian and author, and we hang out on the D4 Land Services Thursdays 1 o'clock and beyond here on the Louie Bellina Show. If you're looking to get some forestry mulching done, d4landservices.com. Pond construction, d4landservices.com. And if you need a custom metal building from the ground up, go check out d4landservices.com.
The Louie Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio. Woo! Fun is allowed and sports are fun. Weekdays 11 to 2 on The Zone.
We're joined again, Rusty Burson on the D4 Land Services hotline. Hey, Rusty, I got an email, I don't know, about 10 minutes ago. The announcement, Aggie Baseball will be at the 2027 Bruce Bolt College Classic. It's at, well, I didn't recognize that name. New sponsor. It's the Dyken Park Classic.
Awesome, man. That's great.
Here's the field. Go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Houston, Louisiana, Louisville, Yukon, and Utah.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds like a good group.
It's not what it used to be. Because at one point, this was an SEC Big 12 challenge. And you know what? Yeah. With Super Conference realignment, that might be the Big 12, and I just don't recognize it. But I don't know. It's lacking a spark. It'll be better than anything A&M will host in the non-conference, but it's still just not that. I don't know. I didn't feel sizzle when I saw that.
It doesn't have the same attraction as like the number one team in America, like they played UCLA this year, and so yeah, it doesn't. It's not, like I said, it's not bad. I'll take it. It's at least you get to play at a big league park.
Yeah, no, that part. I like every other year Houston, Dallas going back and forth playing in a big league park. I like the concept, but they seem to play a much better schedule when they're down in Frisco than they are when they're down in Houston.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens or whatever. I love going to see them play, whether it be Globe Life or Dyken Park, just because it's got the big time setting and you can, you can kind of spread out and go anywhere you want to. I used to always look forward to that when A&M would play in those, and so I'd love to go down to Houston and take my wife and spend the night down there and just make a weekend out of it.
If I remember right, the early ones at Dyken Park for some reason were freezing cold. Like they were refused to use the heating during those games.
Well, they didn't have heat. So they had the AC, but they didn't have heat. And so there was like little openings in right where the roof kind of connects. And so you'd get the air in there and yeah, it'd be freezing. You better bring a jacket inside there.
And people don't understand. We're not using freezing as in the thought of, no. It was but freezing,
Right.
teeth chattering cold at those early events there.
You could almost see your breath. I mean, sometimes I did. Like, I'd be like, okay, huddle up here. Fortunately, the 12 Man Foundation always had a suite, so I could, at
Oh,
least
come on,
get in
man.
the suite.
Why you gotta be like that?
Hey,
I had a suite. We chopped up peons for wood, and we were drinking wine. Man, why you gotta be like that?
well, I didn't pay for it, Lou. I just benefited from it.
You were safe from the ordinary elements. Okay. I saw this list from Next Round this week, and I always find these and it's an off-season conversation. Don't get me wrong, but they had Kyle Field listed as the 10th toughest place to play in the country.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, doesn't seem like Kyle Field is that intimidating. I mean, it's a one of a kind pop atmosphere in college football, and it's loud. I just don't know if Texas A&M fans are as intimidating as some other schools. I tell you what, I just will never forget going to Miami. This is like the old Orange Bowl, Miami.
Yeah.
And
it was intimidating to walk up to it at night. You didn't even need the fans yet. Exactly.
And then they'd get on a roll. And again, this was the Fran era, so I just remember them jumping to like a 21-0 lead or something, and me telling Homer I'm leaving the press box to go sit down in the stands and have a beer. I can cover this game with a beer. And I left in the stands, and I had neutral, because we're in the press box, so I was wearing neutral colors. And they went up again right before halftime and scored another touchdown, and I was sitting in the end zone of the Orange Bowl with a beer, and these Miami fans were just high-fiving everybody in the stands. Well, I wasn't going to say, no, I'm not going to high-five you, so I'm high-fiving it with these Miami fans, and then they over the loudspeaker, it's like they start playing, there's no one like you, and the whole crowd is like making the U, and then later in the game is rock you like a hurricane, and that place was shaking. I was like, okay, this is intimidating.
It's funny you say that, because I think I share about 98% of what you said, because I have found that Kyle Field crowds are rocking when A&M is 10 and 11 win good, but that's kind of true of 99%. An intimidating crowd, when your team is 6-6, the crowd is still intimidating. And that's not true at Kyle Field.
Well, one of the things, and this doesn't necessarily
at LSU, A&M this past year destroyed it. But in general, other than the Brian Kelly era, I have found that LSU is always intimidating.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Whereas I think that A&M is very welcoming to the fans of the other schools. Like every fan base that I've ever seen, except for Texas, always talks about how welcoming the Aggies fans are. What a great time they had in Bryan College Station, and how people went out of their way because they saw the Tennessee colors, and they walked up to them and said, welcome to Texas A&M, welcome to Aggie Land. Do you need any help? Those are the kind of things that A&M is known for. They don't do that in Baton Rouge, I promise you. They don't do that in Lubbock either.
Lubbock.
Lubbock. Yeah, but Lubbock can get rocking there, and that's, it's small, but, they're throwing batteries at you, and they're throwing goalposts in the stands, and, yeah, they're not very nice.
Yeah. Hey, look, when A&M is winning, Kyle Field rocks, but it should not be conditional if you want a tough place to play tag, is mine. You mentioned another element that's very, very, very true. That part didn't even weigh in my head. Now, if they're toughest places to play, I don't go enough of their games to rank them. I'm not going to lie here and act like an expert. But when I see Alabama, Georgia, and Georgia's 4, Alabama's 5, well, when you have dynasties, when you have top 5 in the country defenses, Georgia had the number 1 defense in the country 2 out of 3 years. That's why it's a tough place to play. I don't even know the crowd doesn't even have to factor in. If you have the number 1 country in the defense, that's a tough place to play.
So read me the top 10 if you don't mind.
I'm tired, man. No, I'm kidding. If you don't mind. Yeah, I'm busy. I got things to do, Rusty. You think my job is to sit around here and read top 10 lists at you? Okay, number 10. Number 10 is Caulfield. Number 9,
Okay.
Memorial Stadium, Clemson, which I'm the only person in the country that will say, nah. I know everyone else thinks it's higher than that probably. You know, A&M did the game at Clemson. Running down a hill and touching a rock is not as motivational for me.
No, I wasn't blown away with that.
It was cool, but come on.
Yeah, I mean, the rock was cool, but once they touched the rock, it wasn't that intimidating.
Thank you.
They knew they were going to win because Fran was on the other sideline.
Stop, man. Look, I've had so much Fran this week that I'm starting to get itchy. I haven't needed a beer this bad in a long time, man. Less Fran.
He kicked the extra point to go up by 2 late in the fourth quarter.
He cut a 2-score game down to a 2-score game. I remember those good old days. Number 8, Neyland Stadium. We got to stop, man. Don't make my twitch. Number 8 is Neyland Stadium, Tennessee. Number 7, Ben Hill Stadium, Florida. I call it the Swamp. Number 6, Austin Stadium, Oregon. 5.
Never been.
Yeah, me neither. I'd love to, though. No, anything Nike builds, I want to go check out. Number 5 is Bama. 4, Georgia. 3, Beaver Stadium. Yeah, that whiteout. Ooh, I run in fear. Yeah. And number 2 is Ohio Stadium, or as I call it, Ohio State. And number 1 is LSU.
Yeah. Ohio State, I've never been, but people who've been there as a visiting fan say, no, it's awful. I can see it being intimidating. I can also see it just being awful. I've been to Baton Rouge. I will not go back to Baton Rouge again. Not for a football game. They treated me very, very well for a super regional when A&M played LSU. The baseball fans are totally different than the football fans. But no, I don't have any desire to go back there. And I love Florida Stadium. Neyland Stadium, it's really old. It reminds me of Kyle before the renovation. And their fans, I kind of lost a lot of respect for them when they started throwing stuff on the field and, after a call went against them. It's kind of like the fans in Austin when they started throwing stuff on the field. And yeah, in Lubbock. So if you start throwing stuff on the field because the call didn't go your way, you're not a good fan base.
I don't know of anyone that would argue or fight you on that one. Hey, we're almost out of time. But one more for you, and back to the maroon and white world. Nolan Cain is back, man. Aggie Baseball.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love what Mike Early's doing. You think about the staff that he's put together. He's just done everything right since. The first year was a disaster. Last year was really, really good, and what he's doing with the coaching staff is fantastic. It's like Bucky bringing back, all the assistants from A&M. Kyle and Mitch and Frank Hayes, and I think when guys know Aggie Land, and he chose A&M over Austin, I love it.
It's simple for me. I like the fact that he doesn't need to, okay, it didn't work once. Let's give it more time. Well, twice. You don't have enough data size. Like, he doesn't need it to be beaten to death to know when it's time for change. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I do too. Why waste time? I like it.
There can be an overreaction, but some things are so obvious that it's not an overreaction.
Well, they didn't recruit enough pitching this last year. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what Nolan does. And I think anytime you got a guy named Nolan associated with baseball, it's good.
Hey, what's your plans for the weekend, man? What do you do when the sport starts slowing down like this?
My son's getting married. So
you're busy.
I got to pay for a rehearsal dinner tomorrow night.
All right. Make sure to catch the World Cup while you're doing all this, all right? Hey, Rusty, see you next Thursday, man. Be excellent.
See you, buddy.
Later. Rusty Burson. His kid's getting married. Big weekend ahead. Expensive weekend ahead. We'll be back. Sprint to the finish. It's the Louie Bellina Show, Thursday edition, presented by CC Electric on the Zone.
You can get the podcasts of Texans Live, The Louie Bellina Show, or Chip Howard at zone1150.com, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Almost, not quite done. Do not forget Fridays. No Louie Bellina. There is a Louie Bellina Show. Caleb's got your back. Astros. They won yesterday. 3-1. Late rally. A run in the 8th. A run in the 9th. 3-1. Astros beat the Blue Jays 2 out of 3. The Astros are, I think it's called a win streak. They've won 4 series in a row. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They've won, they're 19-12 in their last 31. So that's the month. And I said before, if they're going to play at this pace over the last 3 months, they're going to win the West by like 10 games. During this stretch, last 10 maybe, not the last 19 and 12, but Josh Hader, 0.90, 6 for 6 in saves since he returned from the IL. We no longer have the nightmare of Abreu in the 9th. You no longer have to fear having a lead late. I will say for the 100th time, if Hader did not go in the IL in September of last year, Astros win the West and make the playoffs. Hunter Brown, 2.08 ERA in his 2 starts since returning from the IL. Deceptive. He had to leave early in his last start. Pitch count. Christian Javier is going to return this weekend in Detroit against the Tigers. I.e., I take all of this I shared it with you. 7 of their last 10, 4 straight series, 19-12 in their last 31. Hader, Brown, trending up. Where it will equal? I've been an Astros fan my entire life and existence, going to Astros games with my dad at the Dome. And things can turn quickly when you have an old and aged team that's injury prone. This is beautiful. Think about how deep of a hole the Astros actually were in, that, they're on this incredible run and they're still 2.5 back. That's how bad they were, that they could have this month, 7 games above in the West. Here's how bad it is. Let me, I've got some notes here. Let me find this for you. That the Astros are still 2.5 back in a division that only one team's above 500. The Astros are the only team that's above 500 in their last 10. The Astros are 6-4. In the last 10, the Rangers are 4-6. Angels are 5-5. Seattle 6-4. The A's have lost 4 straight. I mean, that's the West, the Wild Wild West. Mike Burrows got the start yesterday. Remember, he was a starter all year. They had to yank him. He showed up in relief on Friday, had to work on a slot angle by X degrees, and he was great yesterday. Strikeout rate too low, did give up a dinger, but only 2 hits and a run. That'll work all day. No decision. Bullpen was fantastic. Okert, King to Hader, Yahtzee. I got your please repeat this factoid of the day for you. So in the modern era of baseball, which started in the year 1900, there's only 2 players in all of baseball modern era to have a 600, plus slugging percentage and a 300 isolated power rating number on the road in their careers. And, they have a minimum to qualify. Do you know who these 2 players are? The first one I could share with you is Babe Ruth. The second one is currently a modern player, so we don't have final stats. Will he finish? Yordan Alvarez. Did you think that you could hear Yordan Alvarez and Babe Ruth in the same sentence today? Not I. But I'll repeat it one more time so that you can repeat it to your friends and impress them. There are 2 players in the modern era, that's since 1900, to have a 600 slugging percentage and 300 isolated power on the road in their careers. Now, Yordan's career is still going. Could he drop? Well, we'll say currently in progress, but Babe Ruth and Yordan Alvarez, that's pretty good company to be hanging out with. Astros, after the dub in Toronto, took the series, 4 straight series, are in Detroit for a 4-game series. Arrighetti goes tonight. Arrighetti, been awful. Awful in June. And it's a big inning problem. It's a home runs allowed problem. That means his velo, starting to hate hearing that phrase, his velo has dropped off significantly, so he's given up home runs. Can't avoid bats. Is it something he has to pitch through? Is it mechanical? Why has it gone on this long? How come the pitching staff can't help him? He needs to be micromanaged. The Christian Javier return is Friday scheduled. Hunter Brown back at it on Saturday. And man, I got this right. I'm a Thursday. Let's do this right. Arrighetti Friday. Yeah, Javier is Saturday, and then Hunter Brown would close out the series on Sunday. Detroit 4-game series. That's how the Astro rotation looks for now. Some more Astro notes for you. Javier's coming back, and around the corner is Blanco and Wisniewski, if you remember him. And what would be the plans for Blanco and Wisniewski? If the Astros learned their lesson from a year ago, absolutely nothing. Say it again. Remember a year ago when the Astros were relying on all the Tommy John guys? They thought that Javier a year ago and Luis Garcia a year ago, and they planned on them contributing a year removed from Tommy John. And it didn't. Of course they didn't. Well, you should not count on Blanco and you should not count on Wisniewski. Next year, yes. They're going to need bullpen help. Remember when De Los Santos was called up? And I told you the storyline on him was it's a year early. It's a year early. It's a year early. And it's starting very much to look like it was a year early. He was red hot. And was it his first, I don't know, 4, 5, 6? But now he's starting to get hit a year early. Are they going to trade for right-handers out of the pen? What are they going to replenish? Where is it going to come from? Who's going to not be in the starting rotation when Javier's back? Even at a 6-man, they have too many starters. Lance McCullers started his rehab. Where are they with A.J. Blueball, who's had good results and awful results? Brian Abreu has been given personal time. Will he have value before this season's over? And they've tried everything. So many bullpen questions other than Hader. De Los Santos will have to be sent back down. I think that's obvious at this point. Texas Rangers, losers. 4-2 to Miami. The Marlins, 2 runs, bottom of the 8th. 2 runs, break open the tie. 4-2, they picked up the dub. Win, bullpen, Rangers, gives up 2. Jacob deGrom went 6 innings, gave up 2. Not sure how he took the loss in this one. Oh, I know why. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. 6-2, and he takes the loss. He was brilliant. It's the season-long Ranger story. No offense, no different in this game. Don't have to really overanalyze this at all. Now, travel last night. Texas Rangers stay out on the road where they go from Miami to Toronto, 4-game series with the Blue Jays, who the Astros took 2 out of 3 from. Tonight, Toronto, Gore. Friday, Toronto, Evalde. Saturday, Toronto, Rocker. Wrap up the series with Toronto, Quantrill. That's the Rangers. By the way, I forgot to mention this because I'm an awful, sports talk show host. Tonight on Brian Broadcasting, here on the Zone, 6:45, Bombers versus the Gumbo Gators. You can hear Bombers baseball select games throughout June and July here on the Zone. And you can also listen on the Zone app. And you can listen at radioagland.com, and you can tell Alexa, play Zone 1150. But as I said tonight on Brian Broadcasting, Astros baseball pregame 5:10, game 1 of 4 against Detroit, on Willie 1550 AM. And that is thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. So we got baseball on Brian Broadcasting tonight. Bombers 6:45 on the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Astros baseball 5:10 pregame on Willie 1550 AM thanks to Kelly Burt Dozer. Let's stay on the diamond. ESPN.com power rankings every Thursday. Rangers 18, Astros 22. I'd be buying Astros stock right now before I'd buy Rangers stock, but I'd say that every day no matter what their records were. America's team, the Chicago Cubs, are 7. We were talking with Joe about Astros Rangers. Astros are trending very well. Can it hold up? They're so injury prone. They could go into September again with a 4-game lead, and then by mid-September have 8 guys on the IL. The Rangers might have their mediocrity so deep they might need too much to make a run, but they're pitching so good. Oh, I got to share this with you. When you look at the standings in the AL West, Seattle's in first. Houston, the A's, and the Rangers are all tied for second. 2.5 back. That is the AL West, baby, and it should be that way all year. Finishing out the power rankings. Top 5, same old, same old. Dodgers 1, Brewers 2, Braves 3, Yankees 4, Phillies 5. Bottom 3, same old, same old. Giants 28, Angels 29. And God bless Matt Simon. He's a good dude. But his Rockies are 30. And they're a solid 30. It's not one of those that needs a lot of debate or conversation, 30. When we come back, done. The final ticket booth opening of the day. It's been open. We opened it every hour. This hour will be no different. Got to say bye. It's the Louie Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio, Thursday on The Zone.
Listen to the Houston Astros on The Zone. Thanks to Kelly Berdozer.
I have a text message. Jimmy Robinson, do you prefer MTV era or post MTV era Z Top? I like both, but appreciate LaGrange more than Sharpdressed Man. I love pre-MTV era. I like blues ZZ Top. Oh, man. But both are fine. The MTV era was like more pop, rock, more polished. But you give me the gritty, and you give me just the blues-based ZZ Top. So prefer? Oh, easy, prefer. James in Caldwell. He sent me the link to the release from the Brazos Valley Bombers, and they're doing a pop-up game in Caldwell. Uri Geba, owner of the Bombers, joins me every Tuesday at 12:30. And when he joins me Tuesday at 12:30, we will talk about the pop-up game then. Never fear, James and Caldwell. We will talk about it. Thank you for the text message, but we'll talk about it then. As we head out the door tomorrow on the Louie Bellina Show, I'm inside the Charles Schwab studio. Tomorrow, what's his name? Caleb? Sure. Caleb will take control. I won't be here June and July. And in July, Fridays will be Tony Catalina of Gig'em 247. Tony Catalina will take control of things then. The rest of the day here on The Zone, we're about 3 minutes and change away from the Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fund Center. Chip Howard Sports Talk, 4 o'clock. 6:45, Bombers Baseball. They take on, I love this name. What are they? The Lake Charles Gumbo Gators. Maybe the best name in the TCL. I love the Bombers name because it reminds me of the old Bombers hockey team too. There's a lot of different Bombers names that I love. So I'm out. I'm back Monday. Be amazing. Be awesome. Enjoy the World Cup. Have an awesome weekend. This has been the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric on The Zone. Peace, everybody.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7. Thanks to our Aggie broadcast sponsors who make it happen. Amarillo National Bank, locally owned, family strong, and here to stay. Schulte Roofing, home of the bulletproof roof guarantee. And Rudy's Barbecue, real Texas barbecue. Listen to the games on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.